Hello and welcome to the instructional video to go along with your brand new social media manager Notion template. I have been a social media manager now for over 7 years, so I do know a thing or two about what it takes to engage with multiple clients at a time, make sure that you stay organized and professional at every step of the way. So I created this template to help other freelance social media managers to do the same thing, as well as keep all of their projects in line, organized, and up to date. When you download your template, you will get a document that has two links for you. One of them will be this, which is actually the demo website. You won't be able to copy this as a template because it is literally just a demo, and you can use it as something to have a look at, experiment with, and just get a good idea of what the Notion template itself can actually do. The other link that you're going to get will be the one that is the template, which is a blank copy of the template. So you don't have to go in and delete any examples. It will already be blank for you. So for the purpose of this video, I am using the demo website so you can actually see how certain elements of the Notion template will interact with each other and how easy it is to add and edit things. I do just want to add in one little quick note here that your template that you're seeing could be slightly different to the one on the video. That is because I do periodically go in and add new features and change the design slightly to make it a little bit more functional. So if you do see anything that is different that doesn't quite line up with the video, just know it's because it's been a new feature that's been added since I recorded this video. Any of those new features will be included in your download guide. So when you got your digital download, you would have received the document. That's how you found this video. If you scroll further down through that, you will actually find a guide, and that will walk you through any of the new features for more detail. If you want to know when I have added new features, you can get them for free and you can download the brand new template link. All you need to do is in that same digital download file, go in and add your email address. There will be a button there for you to click, go through and add in your email address, and I'll only ever send you an email when I have updated the template and added something new for you, so you can access that for free. When you first open up your template, this is something that you're going to come across, which is the Manager Hub. So you can change this part here, which is the header image. You can change it on every page of your template. Simply go up to change cover, and you can either choose any of these options here. You can upload your own. So if you have business logo or a business image you would prefer to see, you can upload that, or you can use Unsplash, which is just a free version of public images that are available. You can also change the logo here if you would wish. Again, you can obviously put in your business logo if you would like to, or you can put in icons, emojis, whatever you like. For the purpose of this template, I have tried to keep things very simple so it is easy to customize for your business. You can change the colors, you can change pretty much everything in the template in order to make it suit your business and your style. If you want to change any of your template colors, you're more than welcome to obviously do that. Just go to the 6 dots here, color, and click a color that you would like the background to be, and it will change it for you. And then you can go in and change the text. You can go in and change the icon color, so highlight the text and change the text there, and it will change it for you. Or you can go in and change the icon color if you like as well, just by clicking this button here. So let's get straight into the video. This will be probably quite a long one because this is a very in-depth template, so I will try and make this nice and quick. So this is your main dashboard. It will be the first thing that you see every time you load up your template, and it is pretty much your main bread and butter to be able to see what's going on at a glance for the day. So starting with this part here, you do obviously have your today section, which is just a weather widget and a time widget. You can obviously delete these and change them. If you want to change the location of your weather template, I will show you how to do that quickly. So this is one of the many websites you can use to get Notion widgets. This is just called Indify. You can also do Widget Box. Basically, just Google Notion widgets and a lot of websites are going to come up. This one is free, so is Widget Box. So you go into weather. I've already created it, but you go into weather. Any of these other apps you can do too. At the moment, I've created it with Sydney. So for an example, let's just change it to Brisbane. Feel free to change any of the information here that you would like, and then go copy down the bottom. So back in the template now, so when you want to replace the link with a new location, just go to replace. It'll open up this window with the embed link and just paste in the embed link that you got from your widget creator. Moving on, we've got the reminders section. So this one is obviously very handy to know when things are coming up at a glance. At the moment, I've got it categorized with two main reminders, so contracts that are nearing expiry and then up and coming reports and audits that are due. If I expand these down, I do have some examples here so you can see. Now, these tables are already pre-filtered for you by time, meaning that they are actually filtered by those that are ending this month. And this one is by those that are coming up within the next month or within the next week. So it just keeps you really organized and on top of your reporting and audits for your clients. Each one of these tables are getting pulled out of the client tracker profile, which is linked over here. And we'll go into depth in that one in a second. That one is one of the biggest databases and one that you'll use the most. But just to have a quick view here, so any of these will be appearing here for you so you can quickly action them. Moving further down here, you've got your tasks. So same thing, it actually runs out of this database down the bottom here. And anything that is coming up or that is due, you're going to see it pop up the top here so you can actually see what's coming up and what needs your attention and help you to prioritize your tasks on a day-to-day basis. When you click open on one of these, you can create your task, you can set the priority, mark it as done, set the due date, and then the status, so whether it's in progress, done, or not started yet. You can also feel free to fill this in with any notes or information that you would need. This database does populate into one of our other sections, which is the daily schedule and task list, which I will explain that in a moment. And the last final section that we have on the main dashboard for you to have a quick look at is the calendar. So obviously you can link this into your mail provider calendars, or if you have G Suite or Outlook or anything like that, you can actually sync a calendar to this. This one is actually not set up to be synced that way. It is just a simple calendar that you manually add in. But if you want to link your databases together with your external email provider, you can do that. I've just left it this way so you can keep them separate if you want to keep them separate, or you can link them in if that's just how you prefer to work. For this example here, there is a discovery call coming up. So when you enter the name, and then you can also assign a client here if you have got a client, and this again connects to the client database, the date. When you click on this here, you can include a time if you want to add the time of the meeting, the type. So at the moment, I've just got these preset ones here, but feel free to edit or add those if you want to. Obviously, you can change the color as well if you don't like the colors there. Then you've got meeting URL if you want to put in a Zoom link or anything, or a Google Meetup, and the project due date if you do have something that you need to actually keep a record of there. Same thing with this example down here, it's just a different version, and this one is actually connected to a client sample. And when you click on this, it does open up the main client profile, which we'll have a greater look at in a second. The other two sections here for you to take note of are the client status overviews. So again, this does link back into the main database of the client onboarding system. So you can see at a glance who's in negotiations, who's signing contracts, who's on hold, and who's done, meaning that they're fully on board and you're working on them actively. The final section here is just the finance overview. So this is an easy way for you to see very quickly how much income you're making on the month, how much expenses you have, and then therefore your profit for the month. This is actually automatically tallying from the finance tab, which we'll go through in a moment, but you can click on this to expand it out. I do have a section to make this one work. It just means that in the current month, you just need to come in and actually tick that box and untick the previous month. So in this example, it's January. So I would need to go in and untick the December one just so it actually does work appropriately and show you the correct one. All these other bits and pieces here, you actually don't have to touch. It is automatically going to fill for you. But again, we will go over this in more detail in a moment. So coming back up to the top of the main dashboard, I am going a little bit quickly, so I do apologize. But this is also your navigation pane here. So you can see very quickly how many bits and pieces are actually built into this template. So moving on, we're just going to go into the personal brand and the your business subheading. So obviously this is everything to do with your business, not your clients. So if you want to expand out, you want to reach more clients, you have business goals, your daily schedules, and your content calendar to build your personal brand online for yourself, this is where you can build and track all of that information. So clicking on the personal brand section, we've got your goals, marketing strategy, and your services and pricing. So just to break these down a bit quick for you. So in the goals section, obviously every business has goals and it's important to track them and to track the steps that you need in order to achieve those goals. I have split out these goal lists into 4 categories. So client related, product related and product creation, financial, and social media. So obviously clients, it could be you want to sign on a certain amount of new clients, you want to attract a particular client, so a very high paying client, you want to work with a specific brand or a specific person or a specific product. So all of those sorts of goals would be assigned into the client section. Product creation is more for the social media managers who want to be selling products online as sort of a different avenue of income. So if you want to be selling digital products, guides, templates, all that sort of thing, that would be where you can use this as a goal section. The next section is obviously financial, quite self-explanatory, but there is a section there for you to track any financial goals that you want to related to your business. And then the next section and the final section is obviously social media. So again, this is actually specifically relating to your professional branding, not to your clients. So this would be where you want to track your own social media goals, not actually for your clients. So if we jump into one of these as an example here, so you assign the type, so social media, product, client, or financial. You assign it a name, and then there is actually a progress bar here that will automatically tally for you. You can tick whether it's been completed, and then you also have a series of steps. So when we come down the bottom here, you can add it through here directly, or you can do it in this next section down here that you can see on the page. These two tables do sync up. At the moment, I just don't have this filtered because it is an example. So when you would create your own, you would just need to come in here and go filter, and you would go goals, and then assign it the goal that you've created here. So the name of the goal. So in this example, sign on for new clients. So I only want to see the steps that are associated with signing on for new clients. So these are, again, things that you create yourself. You can break your steps down into achievable bite-sized pieces to make the goals a little bit easier to achieve. So when you click open, it's going to come up like this. So you can give it a title, assign it to a goal, when you want to complete this particular step by, and then down the bottom here, all you have to do is just track how you're going to do that step if you want to, or sometimes the title of the step is actually pretty self-explanatory. But you may want to track in here, so say if you've had sign on for new clients, you might want to put in here that you want to follow up in the pitching tracker, which is over here. If you want to follow up in the pitching tracker of making sure that you are pitching to specific clients that have a high potential of earning, for example, very large businesses or very large profiles or things like that, that you know actually will have the budget to pay a higher amount. If obviously you're targeting small business owners, they probably, once you've completed the step, you can just tick it off. And what that's going to do is automatically there, you saw that the progress bar went up to 100% done because we've only assigned one step. These goal sections do also automatically filter into other parts of the template. So for example, the client one will filter into client profiles. Product creation is on its own, but the financial and the social media filter into content, and also the finances down the bottom here. So you have other places where you can see those goals to keep yourself motivated. Moving on to the marketing strategy. Again, this section is purely aimed at your personal business marketing strategy. So your ideal client. I have put in a couple of options here for you to fill out when you're trying to figure out who your ideal client is, because that will obviously affect how you market yourself, the content you're creating, how you're speaking to your audiences, how you're finding them, whether they're inbound or outbound, their buying habits, all that sort of stuff. So you have almost your own version of an audience profile here to be able to fill in. Again, so to add a new one, you can put the industry niche here and start filling out the details, or you just click open and it's going to open the side panel for you, so you can fill all of this in and be as detailed as you like to help you create more effective content. Moving down, we have the marketing funnel. So again, it's about helping you to create better content. So you have your awareness, interest, desire, and attraction, as well as loyalty. So I do have these options here just to help jog your memory about what it is that they are, and then you can make some notes here. The next section is the marketing channels. So you may not need to have every single one of these channels open depending on your business plan. But if you do, this is a place then for you to track it. So I do have the main ones listed here, and you can open this up, fill in the information to keep yourself nice and organized and accountable. The final section here is services and pricing. So this could be your packages that you're creating and offering to social media clients. If you're creating content and that's a service that you're offering on top of just scheduling and maintenance, if you're doing some marketing services for them and you're helping your clients to build marketing funnels, or you're doing website maintenance, anything like that, this is a great section for you to pop it in and make a note. So you can put the price of what you're going to charge. And then I do have a template here. So once this loads up for you, it's just giving you very simple description, what makes your services better, and then competitive research. So what are other people who offer something similar to your product doing in that area? What are they offering? What are they charging? And what are they including? So you can make sure that you're staying nice and competitive. Moving on is the daily schedule and task lists. So when you first load this up, it's all going to be collapsed, so it's not too in your face and too overwhelming. But essentially what you do is just go through and expand it out on the day that you need. So in this example, it's Monday, and this will basically be your daily planner. So you have a section to fill in your top priorities for the day that you want to make sure you get done. And then you have the to-do list. This list is pulling directly from the task table that was on the main page. In this section, it's only showing the tasks that have not been completed yet. So you can either mark them off as completed from the main dashboard, or you can actually mark them off as completed directly in here. So if you said done, it's going to disappear for you. If you want to add in a new task, it doesn't necessarily assign it to the Monday as a task being done for the Monday, but you can just create a new task. So we could put a sample in here. So task 4, give it a low priority and say that it's in progress, and say the due date is the 26th of January. So it is here for me to see very easily. It's also going to appear on any one of these other days because it has not been marked off as completed. And if I go to the front page again, the main dashboard, and we scroll down, you're going to see it here. So coming back to the daily schedule and task list tab, this is just a way for you to see at a glance what tasks are open and for you to do. So you could put a client name here, you could put content creation for a specific client, you could put content creation for yourself, whatever it is, you can tag that in here and you can keep yourself really organized. Moving on to the daily schedule. This is a really simple database, but I've just given you a time blocking option. So you can write in the tasks that you've got to do. You can also assign it to a client if you need to. So if you're doing something for a specific client at the time, you can actually assign it here so you know exactly what it is that you're doing. And then you've also got the content calendar tab. This is if you're creating content for yourself and you just want to know, okay, I'm doing something for a client. Okay, so in my examples here, Beth's Wedding Cakes at 8 a.m., but I'm going to do my own content, and we'll just assign it here as a sample. What are the 4 C's of social media strategy at 10 a.m. So it just, again, helps to keep you really organized for your day. These time blocking schedules do not link together from day to day. So every day is a fresh opportunity. Every day is a fresh set of schedule. Moving on to the next section is the content calendar for your business. So up the top here, you do have a section of topics. So when you're thinking about what type of content you want to create, you can break it down into a topic. And when you open it up, you've got your content pillars. You can obviously change these up depending on your preference and what you like to call them. But assigning it a content pillar just helps to keep it in your mind and exactly what it is and the purpose of that piece of content is for you. So when you're down here, this creation actually does pull out of the next section down the bottom here. But just to quickly show you, you can see any of the pieces of content that are related to this specific topic. So when you create your other topics, you'll just have to come in here again and just create a filter for yourself. Just assign it as a topic and assign the social media strategy as a topic there. So when you have more than one topic, it's easy for you to very quickly see which piece of content belongs to which of the main topics that you want to talk about. So in this example, I've only got social media strategy, but as a social media manager, you could be talking about effective content creation. You could also be talking about ads. You could be talking about building sales funnels off your social media. So all of these are your main content pillars in terms of the topics that you're going to be breaking each piece of content into. So moving on to the actual content calendar itself, this is where you can track all of your ideas, what platforms you're going to create the content on, what type of content is it? So is it a carousel, a blog post, a podcast, a video, a story? Is it a sponsored post? So you can keep all of that information at your fingertips, track the publication date. Is it an idea? Is it in progress? Publish, review, etc. So when you open up these windows into the side view, it's going to give you this option. So you have your title, you can fill in this option here. Topic theme is obviously back up the top here. It's connecting to this, and it's just saying that we've connected that to the topic ideas section. Then you've also got, because this one has been listed as a Instagram image, you've got a caption and hashtag. So you can actually track all of that here, and you can even upload media. So if you do have an image that you've created in Canva, or you've got an infographic or whatever it is, you can upload the image here so you can see it, create your caption and hashtag. So when it comes to scheduling, you can just pull it straight out. So I will just show you that when you open a new piece for the content calendar, it is actually going to give you this series of templates. So this is because obviously each type of content creation requires different information and different bits and pieces. So depending on what it is that you're actually creating here, so if you're going to create a blog post or a video, so if we said it was going to be a video for this example, it's going to preload a different template for you to have a look at. So research goals, shot list, script, footage, etc. So you can upload footage, create your scripts, and keep everything in the appropriate area. So when it comes to actually filming your content or editing your content, you know exactly what it is that you need to do, so you're really time efficient. And then this section here, social media goals, is what we were talking about earlier from the personal branding section of the goals. So it's just going to populate here for you to have a look at. So if you were looking in this section and you had ticked off something, well, then you could actually assign it here, and you would be able to, just changing that filter again, you would be able to mark it off. For example, if you did happen to achieve it while you were looking in here, so you could say it's completed and you post it every day. So now you've got your goal achieved. So moving on to clients. The client profile is one of the biggest databases that I have created in this Notion template for you, and it is pretty much the bread and butter of a social media manager. It is, so you can actually keep every piece of detail and important information about your clients on file and on track. So when you're creating these profiles, it is best to put as much detail in there as you possibly can. So as an example, I will show you Beth's wedding cakes. As a disclaimer, this is not a real person. So when you come in here, you have this whole profile that you can fill out. So you've got the Beth's wedding cakes, you've got their onboarding status. So where are they in that process? Their name, email, the company, website, and the service you're providing them. At the moment, I have these 3 options. So feel free to add and edit those depending on what services it is that you're actually providing. There's a section here to put in your package details at a glance, so you just remember what you're going to do for them. You can record whether they were inbound or outbound. That doesn't affect anything. It is more just for your personal knowledge, so you can see if you are getting more inbounds and outbounds and maybe change your strategy. You've also got invoicing numbers that will connect through to here from finance, billing name and email if you just need to keep a record of that, the contract tracker. So obviously your social media clients should be on contract with you. So there is a contract database here for you, and so the contract will populate here. If you click on this, it will take you directly to their contract. It is also the same idea with the pitching tracker. So if you have pitched to this particular client, you can connect the 2 databases together just so it keeps you nice and organized. So just scrolling down here, I've just tidied this up a little bit, but we do have sections for you to check off. So this is all just materials that you'll be sending them. So you can track if you've sent them the welcome pack, the proposal, a strategy, an audit, and a social media report. There is also a section here for you to note down the date of the next report that's due and the date of the next audit. These 2 dates do pull through to your front dashboard and are what is going to appear in the reminder section. So obviously in this example, we've got January 11th and 24th. If I just quickly jump back to the main dashboard for you to show you, so it's showing up here. And so that's how this whole system works. So you can start to see how the databases connect to each other. Just jumping back into this one again. The last 2 sections here are actually going to be related to timesheet and timesheets themselves. So if you are working on a timesheet basis for your clients instead of a package, then this is really handy. So you can actually do it through the timesheet section down the bottom here, which we'll have a look at in a second. And then down the bottom on your client profile is the invoices tab. So this database connects into finances. So every time you assign a invoice to this client, it's going to appear here. So you can keep track on the invoices that are overdue and anything like that, but you can see at a glance from your actual client profile rather than always going into finances. And then of course, here are your client goals. So again, these all connect back into the personal branding section. But these are any goals that you have assigned as being related to your client, so you can see them at a glance here. You can also see some information in this table view or as a status, so you can see it like that. It just depends on what you prefer to look at it. The next section I've called the project hubs. This is a pretty impressive section of this template, if I do say so myself. When you are working for your clients, this section is not a client portal, so I have to make that very clear. This is not a client portal. This is simply for you to keep organized and on top of your client work and content creation. It is not a client portal. So if you can't share this section with your clients, I will be designing a version of the template where you can actually jump in and share it with your clients. So you'll be able to create a client portal where you can assign it to each client. They can log in and communicate with you through that section. That is not what this version is. This version is just for you to be able to keep on track with your client work and the content that you're doing for them. So I do have an example created here, but I will just show you when you're coming to create a new client profile because they've come on board, just click this button that says add a new client profile and it's going to load the template. Once the template has loaded, it's just going to pop up here. So you can actually just drag and drop that into the client section just to keep this looking a little bit neat and tidy. And when you click onto it, it's going to open the actual client hub and it's going to load up for you. Now I'm just going to go back a step and go into Beth's Wedding Cakes again, just because this section has actually been filled in for you to have a look at. So you change the name here to your client name. Again, you can change the header, you can change anything you like in here to personalize it. But I like to have this little profile card up the top here. So when you click on this, it's just assigning it to your client database, so the main database again. You can assign the name here. Don't worry about changing that because it's just going to say name there. So you've got Beth's Wedding Cakes, or if you have another client, obviously, you just assign it to them. And it's pulling a couple of bits of information off of your main client profile. But you can leave this alone, really. It is mainly just so you can keep everything connected and organized to see at a glance at what's going on. If you need to quickly jump in and see this client profile, you can actually click on it and it's going to open it up, and very quickly you can see all that information. So if you needed to check a date for something, you wanted to jump around and have a look at a contract, or you wanted to double check what your requirements were for this particular contract, you can easily do that. Moving on to the actual hub itself. So this is everything you need to create content for your client. So we have a series of profiles here. I do have this sorted automatically by inactive and active. So obviously you can just come in and change that depending on what your client is actually doing. So you can jump around. I've just changed it to be able to see the active status. So at a glance, you can turn it off or bring it back if you want to. So again, if we just wanted to bring Instagram back to the active tab, there it is. All of these profiles have been slightly altered to suit the actual platform it is that they're talking about, but feel free to go in and change those as well. So if we click into it, so say this was your client's Instagram, it would be the date of the last audit that you would put here. You can keep track of the best posting days, best posting times, how much content you're doing for them per week, whether they are active and whether the profile has been optimized or not. And then as you scroll down, you're going to have a set of daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. So this is just something for you to come in to remind you what to be doing for them every day, and you can tick it off depending on how it is that you like to work. Scrolling further down, you are also going to see audience profiles, content overview, and posting times. These three tables are pulling information further down in the project hub here. So we will see these in a second, but these are just filtered to show you, obviously, the Instagram related version. So the TikTok profile will show you the TikTok related versions, etc., etc. So you can just see all of it at a glance, filtered by platform. So just scrolling down here, you have your business goals and your challenges for your clients. So this is, I find, just a really easy way for you to visually see what it is that your client wants to achieve and then the challenges that they're facing. So in these examples here that I've just filled out, they're having a challenge filming good content, being consistent. Clients, so their customers, have problems with pricing and then them actually getting noticed on social media. So then you also have obviously your business goals here, and it can just really help keep you on track and organized when it comes to creating strategies and planning out their content for them when you know what their challenges are. So these sections are automatically collapsed. So I will just collapse them up so we don't get too overwhelmed. So if we expand down the content first, obviously you have your main topics. this is quite similar to how I've organized it in the personal brand tab for your own company, except I've only done it like this, not as like its own profile. It is just a simple list of the main topics that your client should be talking about. So you get this information from doing your strategy research and content research on what it is that they should be talking about as a broad topic. Then you can take that information and come down into the content planner itself. So as an example, I've got a couple of options here. Again, when you click the open, you can open it up and it's going to show you a lot more information that is assigned to that whole idea of content. So you can change the platform, you can change the status, you can upload files and media. So if you want to upload the carousels or the stories or the videos or whatever it is, you can upload that here. Content pillars. So these content pillars are just, again, examples that I have put in here. You can change these depending on the terms that you like to use. The date to publish, so for that piece of content, the date that you're going to publish it, and any scripts for that piece of content, which is also connected through down the bottom here. Again, much like it is in the personal brand content calendar, there are just some areas for you to have a look at in terms of how it's set up with templates. So if this was a video, obviously we've got it here that it was an image, but if this was a video, here is the template for the video in order for you to have a look and just break down the hook, the body, the call to action, ideas, shot list, etc. So you can keep really organized when filming content and creating content for the clients. As another example, this one's a TikTok. It hasn't been selected here. Obviously TikTok would be a video, but just to show you the blog, you've got topic and draft. So you can add in as many pieces of content as you like. You can also change the view. So if you want to see it as a calendar, so for when they're being scheduled, and as statuses, so whether they are in progress and for approval or whether they need edits, etc. Now, if you were creating something and you wanted to share it with your client, again, even though this is not a client database for you to give access to your clients, you can actually click the three dots in the top here and you can have export. So you can export, if you had this whole, say this whole section here filled out, you can export it as a PDF and send it to your client without having to copy and paste a lot. So if you wanted to send them something that had the caption, hashtags, if it was a blog post, if it was a script, whatever, you can send that to them as an exported file and just email it through and then just track what their responses are here. Moving on, you've got the hashtag section. So as you're doing your hashtag research and the sorts of hashtags that your client should be using on their posts, you can track them all here, and then you can also assign them as groups. The only reason I've included this is that obviously when you assign it to a group, so for example, you can break that down by the content pillars as a group, or you could break it down by ideas. So let's just throw out the idea that for a wedding cake designer, maybe the groups of hashtags could be to do with the cake design, so 2-tier, 3-tier. It could be done with broken down by wedding theme, so whether it was boho, minimal, anything romantic, whatever, you could break it down into that. So when it comes to assigning the hashtags, you've got them all in groups here, so then you can just copy and paste the whole group instead of going individual each hashtag at a time. You've just got the whole group depending on what is related to the post you're working on. Then you've got the posting schedules. So this is obviously related to going in and doing your research for your client profiles on which day and time is the best one to post. This information will pull through up the top here to the profile sections. So you can see them at a glance, or you can see all of the profiles here. Moving on to reporting and analytics. So again, you just jump in here and add the information in, and it can make it really easy then when you've got to generate reports for your clients, because you've already kept track of the information and you can pull it out and put it into a reporting template if you've got one, and then send that through to your client whenever it is due, just so they can see the progress. And then it also helps you to understand which content is performing, what needs to change, what adjustments need to be made to your strategy, etc. So you can let your client know and make those changes for the following month. Then there is also somewhere to do the content performance. So you can track what platform it's coming from, what type was it, what was the reaction, what content pillar did it belong to, did it use a trending sound or concept, or was it just like your own thing? And then that will just help you to create more successful content moving forward. And then there is also a section here for the SWOT analysis. So obviously this is normally done at the onboarding process when you're talking to your clients about when you're starting to do your strategy creation for them. But I find it easier to keep this in sight so you can remember and adjust as necessary, because obviously as time goes on, your client's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are going to change. depending on what their market is doing, what their customers are doing, what industry they're working in. Like all of that stuff will change at a regular basis and can even change seasonally. So I do just have this here so you can keep an eye on it and you can change it up as and when you need to. The next section is audience profiles. So very similar to the audience profiles in personal branding, this is just so you can do an audience analysis to find the target audience for your clients to help with the strategy creation. So coming in here, I've just got a couple of examples filled in for you to see. You can make this as detailed as you like. And you can obviously add in new fields if you prefer to track certain things or come up with different things for your audience profiles. But obviously we have their platform of preference. So you can click that here, the age range, their deepest desires, their gender, interests, morals, pain points, personality. Are they problem aware or solution aware? What product or service do they need? Not necessarily what product or service does your client offer, but what product or service do they actually need to overcome their pain points? And then their ultimate goals. Are they a visual learner? And an idea of their yearly salary, so their budget. Feel free to add in as many audience profiles as you need. Again, this can be really handy when you're creating the strategy and when you're going through and doing analysis of your reporting to see if you're actually hitting their target audiences. The next section is competitor research. So I like to perform competitive research for all of my clients so we can make sure that their products and services are actually in the competitive market. So for this example here, I've just got an example of another bakery, because this is a wedding cake company. So another bakery, how often are they posting? What platforms are they most active on? Are they running ads? What's their website? What kind of content are they posting? What are they doing poorly? And then what are they doing well? So then down the bottom here, I haven't got any templates, but you could obviously create a template in there if you prefer to fill in specific information on a regular basis, but you could take any notes there that you could be aware of too. The next section is promotions. So this is everything to do with promoting for your clients. So it can be running paid ads if they're doing contests or giveaways, if they're doing email marketing, and obviously influencer marketing. So I've got sort of the 4 main promotion styles that people do. When you jump into here, each one of these is running their own database. So I've just got obviously run competitions to increase engagement and brand awareness. So these are its own database that is specifically assigned to contents and giveaways. So when you open these up, they have more information. So if you're going to run a contest or a giveaway, you can put the title of it here, the category. So is it a giveaway or are you doing a contest or anything like that? The content planner. So you can assign this to a piece of content. So obviously if you're doing a contest or a giveaway, you're going to have some sort of post about it. And so you can link directly to the post that you're talking about or that has the information or anything like that. You can link it directly. The date of the competition or giveaway, the goals of it, the platform it's going to run on, the actual prize, so details of the prize, the rules that must be included, and then how the winner is going to be selected, and then any other notes here that you want to take. So that way, every time you run a contest or a competition, you are going to have an entire different database to keep track of all of that information. Same thing for paid advertising. So again, this database is separate to everything else and is running independent for this client. So when they're going to run a paid advert campaign, you can come in and track the status. So whether it's in drafting, if it's active, or whether the campaign is inactive, the budget of this campaign, again, the content planner. So if you are actually assigning a specific piece of content to this ad, so whether you are promoting a particular post, promoting a particular link, whatever it is, you can actually record that here. The date of the advertising, so how long is it going to run for, the objective of it, and the platform that it will actually be running on, and then any notes here that you need to take for each one. The next section is email marketing. So I have broken this into 2 things. One is your main emails that you can set up automatically to go out to clients if they subscribe to something, if they buy something, anything like that. So all of those sorts of emails can be recorded in here. So in this example, it's a welcome email. So thanks for subscribing. We'll be sharing a range of exciting news, blah, blah, blah. So you can put the text of the draft in here for the email, the send time of the email, if it is a specific email. So obviously that relates more to if it's promotional or anything like that. And then you have the subject line. So you can draft the emails in here and again, export it out and share it to your clients where they can make notes on what they would like to include or not include. This is related to obviously only if you're running sort of marketing as part of a wider service range to your clients. The next section in the email marketing is email funnels. So for this example, I have just said that it's a bakery course funnel. So the idea would be somebody would download a lead magnet. You do have other options here as well, depending on what it is you're doing, and then whatever the lead magnet is. So in this example, it's a lead magnet with the best wedding cake base recipe. There would be 6 emails in total for this funnel, and it lasts 6 weeks. And then you can actually break down your emails here. So you've got your welcome email, a deep dive series for 2 to 4 weeks, and then what emails are going out in that time, and then obviously success stories, and then upselling. So the goal of this particular funnel would be to get people to purchase a bakery course that this client is selling. So these again are only related if you're actually doing the marketing services to your clients, but it's also just something to keep in mind for yourself if you're going to create marketing funnels for your own business. But it's also a service that you may want to add on so you can increase your sales. And then the final one that I've got here is influencer marketing. So if your client is in an industry where influencer marketing could be useful, then this is a section for you to track that. So you can put the name of the influencer, their email, their audience size, the budget, which tends to be what they're going to charge. So a couple of $100 for a sponsored post, a few $1,000s, whatever it is, what their engagement rate is. So this information you obviously normally find out once you've already reached out to them, any notes, and then the main platforms that they work on, and then the status, so whether you've actually reached out to them or not, and then any notes that you want to make about that particular creator. The next section is events. So in this database, you can track anything that is an important date for your client. It could be they're running a promotion, they're running a sale, they're wanting to capitalize on a specific holiday. So in this example, Valentine's Day is coming up. So it's just a way for you to keep track of certain events that you want to remember to have content created for. So Valentine's Day, the date of it, the description, and then is it linked to something specific in the content planner, so you can just make sure that you are actually ticking off these big events that your clients would want to have mentioned on their social media. So scrolling up to the top here, that's where you can write down your content pillars and any resources. So if your client has a branding kit, if you have any information that you just need to keep at your fingertips for this specific client, you can upload it here and leave it there. So moving on to the project. So moving on to the pitching tracker. So we've now come out of the project hub, and the pitching tracker is when you're doing outbound pitching. So you're reaching out to potential clients, so you can track it in here. So their company name, the contact name, the email address, what industry they're in, whether you've emailed them, the date you emailed them. You can pop in a follow-up date here to remind yourself, are they onboarding or not? If they are onboarding, you can assign their client profile here. And then if the client requests a follow-up, so sometimes obviously you get them asked to touch base in 3 months, well, you can put a date here to remind yourself. And then any feedback. You can make any notes down the bottom here that is related to your pitching as well. And I do actually have a pitching template. If I open this one up and you go pitch template, it's just going to open a nice basic template for you to give you an idea of what you should include. The next section is the scripts library. So this is an area that I've created just to keep track of any good scripts that you come across on social media for yourself that your clients may actually find interesting when using their own content creation. So you've got your hooks, body, and call to action. So you can record the type of hook that it is, what it is good for, and then actually what it is. So then when you're either providing scripts to your clients or whether you're filming content for them yourself, you've actually got somewhere to pull from, so you're not saying the same thing over and over again. Or if you're just having a bit of an uninspirational day, you can come into here and see. The next section is finances. So here obviously has everything to do with your company's money, incoming and outgoing. So the invoice section, if you hit create a new invoice, it is going to create a invoice template for you. So it's just going to generate it with 3 zeros here. Click on that and it's going to open this up. You can fill in this information for your invoices with your total, etc., etc. And then when you come back to your finance tab, just drag and drop that into the table if you want, and it's going to mark it as sent. You will actually have to manually send that out to your clients after downloading it as a PDF, but it's just a way that you can track it through this system if you want to. If you don't want to create invoices through Notion and you want to use an outside service, you can still use this to keep an eye on it. You would just either upload it as a file and as a new option. So here you can upload, you can fill in all of the information here, assign it to clients, the amount of money the invoice is for, when it was sent, when it's due. If it's attached to projects, anything like that, you can actually send that off independently and just keep an eye and just keep a record of it here. If you want to edit the template for your invoice, just go to the little edit button here and then click on this here, and it's actually going to open up the template of your invoice. So then every time you click create a new invoice, it will create whatever was in that template there. The next section is the transaction. So this is your incoming and outgoing expenses. The views that I've created are either all or month by month, whatever you prefer. So when you're creating a new transaction, here is an example, obviously. So it's income, so you put the amount in. If it's an expense, put the amount in. Any notes that you want to keep record of, just pop that down there. The category, so this category database is related to the database down the bottom here of expense category. So if you want to add in a new category, add it in here, and then it's automatically going to pull through up the top here for you to change the category. You've got the date of the expense and the transaction, and then you've got the invoice. So if you wanted to, you could link it. So obviously 00 is the one that we've got there. So if it was an invoice that I wanted to track there, I could do that just so I know where it is for balancing. The month that's associated with, this exists so you can actually populate the monthly overview automatically without having to do anything yourself. And then you can keep any notes here. So if it's a receipt, for example, you could actually upload the picture of the receipt here, so it would be easier at tax time. So all this information is going to automatically calculate down the bottom. And again, you can jump in month per month to see it if that's how you prefer to do it. And then down the bottom here is your monthly overview. So you don't actually have to touch this. This is just automatically going to populate based on the information that you put up here. And it's going to show you the total income, total expenses, and your profit for the month. This is exactly the same card that I was talking about that populates on the main dashboard. So if we were no longer in January, I would untick the current month, come into February, and say that it's the current month. Now when I go onto the main dashboard and scroll down, it's now going to show February. Obviously there was no transaction record, so it's going to be blank. But that's how you change the month on your dashboard at the front there. Moving further down here, this is the expense categories that I briefly mentioned before. So you can create a new category here, and then you can edit them, so you can open them up. This will actually populate any transaction that has been tagged as marketing and advertising. So you can see that. You can make any notes there that you want depending on what it is that you're trying to track. And then down the bottom, you've got years. So if you pull up 2024, you've got all of the months listed there, and it is actually going to track your expenses and your income in total for there as well. Finance goals, again, is just connected to the personal branding section. Coming into contracts in the next one, I don't have a contract template here, but when you do have one, you can just upload it here so you can easily access it when you need to send it to clients. And then there is the contract tracker. So when you open this up, you're just going to have the name of the contract if you've got one, or you can just repeat the client name, attach it to a client, the contract period, the date signed, when it expires, and you can even attach the signed copy here for yourself. And then that information for the expiry of contract will actually populate the front end for you on the main dashboard, so you can keep an eye on that and connect with your clients in order to renew the contract if that's something that you're interested in. The next section is timesheet. So I did briefly mention these before. If you are working on a timesheet basis for your clients, you can actually just click down the bottom here where it says start a new timesheet. This is a quick link, so I'll go over these in a sec, but the quick link here, if we were to click start a new time, you'll see down the bottom here that it has actually popped up on the 8th of January at 5:32 when I'm recording this, the start time. Now I can jump in here and change this, so I could just put task 1 as an option, assign it to a client. So let's say it was, we'll go to Fashion Dre just for something different, and then the stop time. So if I had stopped working, I can put in the stop time here, and that, let's say we'll move forward in time. Say I finished at 6 o'clock. Once you do that, this is automatically going to calculate your minutes and hours that you worked for them. So that just means when it comes to creating invoices, you've actually got a timesheet to be super accurate about what you worked on. You could put the tasks that you worked on specifically if that's something you include on your invoice to be nice and detailed. And you've also got any notes that you want to include for it as well. So the final section is just the quick adds. So you saw there what Start a New Timesheet does. Add a new client, simply adds a new client card in the client profile database. Add a new calendar event, adds a new calendar event to your main calendar in the main dashboard, and then add a new task, just adds a new task to the main dashboard. And that's everything in this Notion template for social media managers. I know I probably went through this very, very quickly and certain things were changing as I went through, but I tried to give you a really brief overview that still will give you a good idea of what this template is capable of. You can edit and change this as much as you like, depending on what it is you like to see. You can change views, you can see anything that you like, change headers, you can customize it to your business to keep you nice and organized. If you do have any questions about using your template, please feel free to reach out to me. Included in your digital download will actually be a booklet version of this, so it will just break it down in words if you prefer to flick through that for quick reference as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this answered any of your questions, and good luck. My best tip for Notion is just to dive in and experiment with it. Have fun.